Welcome to another episode of the News Review. I am Vina Peters. In an age marked by unparalleled connectivity and technological process, the educational landscape is undergoing a profound transformation. Educational partnerships are increasingly transcending conventional boundaries, heralding a new era of collaboration that promises enriched learning experiences and global knowledge exchange. These innovative educational collaborations play a pivotal role in dismantling cultural barriers through the promotion of cross cultural understanding and collaboration. Projects undertaken collaboratively by students from diverse countries offer distinct insights and perspectives, equipping learners for success in a globalized workforce. Language exchange programs, joint research initiatives, and international student exchanges collectively contribute to cultivating a more interconnected and global conscious educational community. Today, our focus turns to the imperative of partnerships in education. The recent celebration of the University of Lagos International Week, themed Breaking the Borders of Partnership, underscores the urgency and significance of fostering collaborative relationships in the realm of education. Our correspondent, Jennifer Adeboye, held the interview with Professor Heath Turner and Professor Jamie Harris, both from the University of Alabama. Take a listen.
On behalf of the VC, welcome to Nigeria and welcome to Unilag TV. Yeah, so this is a special episode of Unilag TV of News Review. I'm Jennifer Adeboye. Yes, so I'll be the one hosting today's episode.
Fantastic. It's our honor to be here.
Okay, so please, I would like to meet you. Can you please introduce yourself and your department?
Yeah, so my name is Heath Turner. I'm from the Department of Chemical and Biological Engineering at the University of Alabama.
Okay, and you?
I'm Jamie Harris, so I'm an assistant professor in the Chemical and Biological Engineering Department at University of Alabama.
Okay, that's same department?
Same department.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Okay, so basically, this is the International Week for 2023, and it's breaking the borders in partnership. Yeah. Tell us, can you please tell us the essence of today, you coming over all the way from Alabama?
Yeah. So we've been meaning to come here to Unilag for about a year or so now because we've gotten some exceptional students into our graduate programs from Unilag. And so we had the opportunity to come here and visit. And so we were able to meet a lot of people today, make a trip here, and it's been really great to talk about different ways to develop partnerships and just really learn more about the university, its students, and the faculty members here.
Fantastic. So I'll take you on that one. You said different ways. Can you just mention 3 exceptional ways which you've been able to?
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to develop some pipelines for students to come from Unilag to study and obtain their PhDs from the University of Alabama. Okay. And so to do that, we're in the process of developing MOUs, which would prioritize students from this university and give them very large scholarships to come to the University of Alabama and study at our university. Mm-hmm. And so as part of that, there's some extra bonuses and stipends, just because it is a long trip to help pay for that airfare or to pay for a laptop when that student arrives to the University of Alabama. So we're trying to do different things to lower the barriers for those students to come from this long distance over to the United States and help them acclimate quickly. And so coming here and learning about the culture is helpful for us to understand where they're coming from.
So I'll take you on that. So in terms of lowering the barriers, in terms of culture, what can you say about that? Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so I think one thing for us that we've realized even being here only 24 hours is actually the weather in Tuscaloosa is very similar to the weather in Nigeria. And so things like that where we can explain to a prospective student that they, could be comfortable in the town where our school is located. And then also putting them in contact with our current students who are from Nigeria so that they can talk directly with a peer who could tell them it's okay, you'll be fine, you can handle the classes. Okay. Those sorts of things, every one of those things, along with the financial things that Heath mentioned, those really help when it's, when I'm a student in Nigeria and I've never been to the United States. I've definitely, like, I have no idea what Tuscaloosa is.
Okay.
And it's a long way from all my family here. So to make someone feel like they'll be able to manage and be happy with that decision, I think that's ultimately what we're trying to do, is like that financially you'll be okay. Academically, but also just that like socially and everything, you'll be comfortable. So
Yes, I know this is the first time you are here in Nigeria. I'll take you on that. This is the first time you are here in Nigeria.
Yes, first time.
Okay, okay. So, can you tell us about the challenges you've had so far? Do you think, or do you envision any challenges, and how do you intend to work on it?
Yeah, I don't know if you would call it a challenge, but I think one of the biggest differences or surprises has been the way people drive and the traffic here in Nigeria. So where we're from is a relatively small town, and so the town has around 100,000 people in it total. And so coming to Lagos, very different. And again, the way people drive, it's much more aggressive and horn honking. And so that's some of that kind of cultural differences that you don't really understand until you see it firsthand.
Yeah, but I'm sure there are a lot of fantastic things about Lagos, like our food, places you tour, here in Unilag, and I'm sure outside. So I'm sure you're going to have a fantastic time even this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
So basically, what strategies can partnerships employ to overcome? I know you mentioned cultural barriers. So what do you have? Tell us more about the cultural strategies we can adopt in order to reduce the cultural barriers. Yes, I know this is Nigeria, Africa, and that's over there in Alabama. So what strategies can we employ to break this?
Sure,
barriers?
yes. So I think, it's easiest to think in terms of what I know that our current students do. So all three of us, James, who's off the camera, and we all have students who work in our research groups who are from Africa. And so then, the sorts of things that they do. But for one thing, like we have an African Students Union like on campus that has undergraduates and graduate students. And I think that gives a lot of community. And then within the department, since we have now 10 or so graduate students who are from Africa, they have that community as well. And then I think in addition to that, all of our faculty are really accessible and like invested in their students. And so I think that they benefit a lot from that, because it's basically like having a family and your advisor being like sort of like a parental figure that, you have some issue, like your car breaks down or you need an emergency dental thing or whatever. Like the faculty member you work for can help you figure out how to solve that problem. And I think that like helps them feel safe and welcome and everything.
Awesome. So I'll bring it back to communication. Communication is vital in everything you do. So basically, what role does open communication play in breaking down barriers within business partnerships? I know you mentioned MOU, you're trying to form the MOU, and so role of open communication, so that's transparent.
Yeah, the open communication is, I think, really key, because there's so many issues that might pop up either with a student or interacting with another university, where a lot of times that problem can be solved if the communication happens. So if we have a student, for instance, that might come from another country to our program, sometimes they don't feel comfortable asking a question. And so they might, again, have a concern and they don't know how to deal with it. But if they come to their faculty members, like, we can help them. And I think that goes both ways in a lot of situations like this, where you have different cultures interacting with each other. Communication is key.
Okay. So basically, so what other ways can we use to further enhance research? We are keen on research here at University of Lagos. So I know you mentioned one or two things during the formal opening. Tell us more. How can we further, enhance research for more collaborative efforts, that especially for development here in Unilag?
Yeah, I think one of the key aspects of a research university, and we struggle with this ourselves at Alabama, is research infrastructure. Those are usually pretty expensive investments that a university has to make. And so even for us at the University of Alabama, we're always trying to lobby and get our administration to make investments into some of these large pieces of research equipment. And I'm sure it's probably a very similar situation here as well. And so I would just encourage the administration and the country and the local government to make those investments, because they have just a fantastic payoff if those investments are made.
Okay. So basically, I will just look at students that are going to be exchanged. Can you tell us more about the exchange program?
At Alabama?
Yes.
Okay.
And would anything be involved? UNILAG students, would they be coming in for that? Can you tell us?
Yeah, so in terms of it, so right now, most of the students I'm aware of who are at Alabama are graduate students from Africa or from Nigeria or UNILAG, are graduate students pursuing a PhD degree. But the university certainly has really active international programs where we send students to lots of different countries to study on exchange programs, and we also have host students like undergraduates.
Okay.
And so I think that I don't believe that we currently do this with any African universities, but maybe we do, and I'm not
I
aware.
don't think we have any formal exchange programs.
Okay.
But what happens usually over time is they grow. It usually starts with a seed. All right, we bring some students here, and then we get more students, and then we have faculty start interacting, and it usually tends to grow on each other over time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was going to mention is there's like kind of like Heath just said, at a single student level, like we're very open to hosting, like there are PhD students here, right? And Heath mentioned research infrastructure. So there could be equipment or techniques that we have that we're the expert in, and someone from UNILAG wants to learn how to do it, and they come for 6 months or something. And then maybe if that happened several times, it would become more like formal or sort of organized than just a single student.
Okay. So finally, I'll just take you on this. We know that the world is going in digitally savvy, like, technology is taking over, basically. So here in Africa now, compared to what you have over there in Alabama, how do you think we can leverage more on technology in order to bring that success?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the beneficial outcomes from the pandemic is a lot of people learned how to use Zoom, right? And a lot of people, even in different areas, small towns, have access to the internet. And so that's really opened up a lot of opportunities for academic exchanges, online. And so nowadays I'll interview students on Zoom before I ever see them in person, and things like that didn't happen before. And so I think that's been really, really helpful in terms of, leveraging some of those communication mechanisms.
Wow. Thank you so much for coming. And that's all we're going to take on today's episode of News Review. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much.
For coming.
Thank you, Jennifer Deboye, for that interview. And thank you, Professor Heath Turner and Professor Jamie Harris from the University of Alabama for coming on the program. And that's how much we can take on the show for today. To watch more episodes of the News Review, you can follow us across all social media platforms at UNILAG on TV. I am Vina Peters. Good day.